on December 12th, we were looking at the forecast on Surfline. We're always looking at the forecast, but we saw a swell was headed to Piahi the next day on Wednesday. And we also realized that the winds were going to be pretty bad here on Oahu. So we decided to take our chances and scramble in like 5 hours to get on a plane and over to Maui. Sylvia, our filmer, had just arrived that day, so I told her we were turning around in like 3 hours and going back to the airport, and that's how strike missions usually go.
And they're here.
We made it. Snowboards are so heavy.
So heavy. We think that because we're not with our guns, it's gonna be easier, but it's just smaller, not easier.
No. So that's how we ended up on Maui on Wednesday, the 13th.
Yeah, and the swell was small for Peahi. I think it's the smallest you can get, like, for it to actually start working. It was like probably 15 to 18 feet, and it was really windy, but not as windy as Oahu. And we really needed to train with Daniel, who was our driver. His name is Daniel Goldberg.
Yeah.
And he's one of the best drivers in the world. He drives for the guy that has the record, the current record. And he's a very experienced safety guy and driver. But he has been our safety before, me and Delia's safety before at Jaws. But he has never been like our tow driver, which is like weird because like you would assume that if like one does safety, you can be a driver or tow driver, but there's like two different sports or like two different things. So Daniel needed to see that we could handle the 15 to 18. And mostly not even like handle, it's like we needed to flow with Daniel first in order for him to take us out on a bigger day, because every driver has different styles and different ways of like approaching the wave. Every wave is different, so it's almost like starting all over again every time you switch drivers. So the waves were really windy, so we were a little bit scared with Delia, like, oh, I hope we like do this right. But we flew super well with Daniel, and he started easy with us, and then we actually got some really good waves.
Yeah, he was awesome. He started us on the shoulder of the wave, so if there's the peak and then the shoulder is the less, it's like
Critical.
less steep, less critical and softer. So he started driving us into that part so we could just feel out the wave and get used to all the chops. It was very, very choppy that day with all the wind, but that's kind of how Piahi is a lot of the time. So it's good to just practice in those conditions. And we just got a couple reps in doing that and practicing getting on the sled quick after and getting quick pickups. And because when it's big, you have to do that in like 3 seconds. So it was all really good to just practice when it was small and then work our way up slowly. And by the end of the session, we were getting a little more comfortable, and he was putting us a little bit deeper on the waves. And we were learning that you have to like fade a lot, which means going almost the opposite direction you think, going left on a right. And then when you feel like you're in the wave and the peak is there, then you start going right. So then you're in that steep part of the wave where you really want to be.
Yeah, because I guess the steep part, the crest of the wave, it has all the energy of the wave. So he was explaining to us that there's many like techniques, like there's like slingshot and there's coming from behind. But what he was doing was just very gentle, leaving us in a straight line on the safe space. And it was almost up to us how critical we wanted to go. So we just would like turn that way and our board automatically would follow. And then we would start going again right. So yeah, and I think the session was really good. We were really confident. I personally, during my whole big wave life, got 4 waves out at Peahi. So paddling, but this time was towing that I got 15 reps in. So I feel way more comfortable than when I started.
Yeah, I think that's the key, is trying to tow the wave first so you actually can catch a wave there. Because that was the first time I've even ridden a wave there. I've only gone once and didn't catch a wave when I was paddling. And that's my biggest goal this year, is to catch a wave paddling out there. But in order to do that, I think you really need to learn the lineup and tow first so you know what to expect. And so it was super helpful this trip to go, and it was a smaller day. There was only one other team out there So it was really nice. Just got to do a lot of reps and feel how the wave really holds you up at the top. And so when you're paddling, it's super gnarly. Like you have
Yeah.
to like paddle your heart out, and you might still get blown out the top. So just learning the lineup. Daniel showed us some different markers where you triangulate, where you make a couple different points on land, and then figure out where you should be in the water, where the peaks are going to be. So yeah, so it's just like getting the spot a little bit more dialed, but we definitely have a lot more to learn. It doesn't mean that one day and now we're good to go. We're going to need to keep stepping it up a few feet at a time until we can get those bombs.
There's a swell coming on like 10 days.
Yeah.
So we're going to be there probably.
It's like a potential Christmas gift swell. So we're going to keep training. My legs are ridiculously sore right now.
So stay tuned for part 2, because hopefully we're going to come back in less than 10 days.
Yes.